All right, this is a very special episode because it is the last one of season 3. I can't believe not only there's 3 seasons of my podcast, but just how quickly time has come. I started season 2 pretty much in the beginning of moving to California, and now it's wrapping up a year. And yeah, this episode is all about my reflections of this past year, moving to California, and all the lessons from season 3, and just like putting it in a nice little bow. And to make it a little extra special, with the focus of all of the pillars of my life, I'm going to go through each one and just give you kind of like the top bullets of what's been going on, and really filling you in on what's to come for season 4. So let's just get started with addressing all the pillars. So if this is your first time ever listening to my podcast, welcome. It's a good one to land on because, again, we're wrapping up. I'm kind of summarizing for you like what my journey has been this past year. And so I moved to California. I went through a breakup of 11 years, and I wanted a lifestyle change. And so I packed up all my shit and I moved to Laguna Beach, and I've been in this amazing studio that's 30 seconds from the water. And I didn't really know anyone, so I started friends from scratch. Everything just changed. I'm also like 32 years old, dating, like what the hell is dating apps, right? Just, there's been so much new things, and peace and solitude and depression and anxiety. Like literally I hit all the emotions all this year. There's really nothing I missed. So it was really important for me to focus on my business, obviously, and this podcast has been so healing. I started my podcast originally because I truly believe every day does provide a lesson. So why not talk about it, share? I don't want to gatekeep. So if I learned something really valuable and it changed my life, I want to pass that on to you. The purpose of this podcast is also to just like be a little page in your pocket, right? Just something to listen to, that is like quick and bite-sizable. And my profession is a life coach, a holistic life coach. So I want to address all the things. I'm not specifically a career coach. I used to be. I'm not specifically a therapist for couples and family. Like, I'm a multifaceted being that has multiple passions and interests, and I'm an enthusiast for all kinds of things. So like, let's just get into it. So I moved here in July, like literally July 2nd, a few days before the 4th, which also, by the way, on July 4th was really rad because the fireworks is right outside my place on the beach. So like seeing the fireworks reflected on the ocean was so sick. And it was just like a boom, you're here, Paige, like let's fucking go. So let's break down these pillars. And what I mean by pillars is these are just the categories of my life. So I'm going to get into environment, mental health, fun and recreation, my social life, career, finances, health, romance, and spirituality. So let's just start off with the obvious, which is my environment. So what's changed in this pillar of my life since moving was everything. I grew up in Colorado. I'm used to seeing the Rocky Mountains. I lived in Denver for 15 plus years, so I'm used to seeing tall buildings and people everywhere. And I moved to this very secluded Orange County beach town that's very small. It's really like a bubble, but it's so beautiful. Like, I am a beach person through and through. And I also, on this past year, I still saw some mountains. I went to the desert, like California's beautiful. It has literally everything. It has all the seasons, all the things. But for me in Laguna, I pretty much just stayed beachfront. So that was amazing. And then also in my environment, the weather, like it played such a huge role in my mood, the things I decided to do. You know, I would get my work done and then I would spend like 5 hours at the beach. And like, this is a Tuesday. So really my lifestyle changed dramatically. So the environment of moving here has really tipped the scale. And I'm just so grateful for the scenic change. And I mean, the sunsets are insane. Like if you look on my social media and you see any beach photos, like the pictures do not do it justice. I've had visitors come see me and visit Laguna Beach for the first time, and they're like, Paige, the pictures you have on Instagram, like that's bullshit. This is next level sunsets. Amazing. And the people have just been really nice as well. Just as we're talking about environment, like I've had just really positive experiences living here. All right, we're going to move on to my mental health pillar. So the big change here of my mental health was really being able to focus on myself. Now, I was in a relationship for 11 years. We pretty much lived together, almost all of them. So constantly having a roommate, if you will, someone that's always there, you know, of course, there's many benefits of that, but sometimes you don't really tackle your own thoughts, or you're not really addressing the darkness. And so living on my own, my mental health, you know, there were days where I was just really fucking sad and lonely and just healing from the breakup, adjusting to this new lifestyle. So it was really my mental health was a roller coaster this past year, but for the most part, super fucking happy, just grateful. Some days I was really confident too. Like, I know what I'm doing. Like, I'm really present. And then, like I said, some other days I'm just, you know, really, really being mindful and self-aware of how I'm showing up and just really analyzing my thoughts a little bit too much, right? So yeah, overall, my mental health pillar, that one since moving here, I'm just going to label it as it's been a huge ass roller coaster. The next pillar that has changed for me since moving out here is my fun and recreation. So moving out here alone, I've been enjoying a lot of things solo. You know, I went to my first concert solo. I thought that was going to be awkward and weird, but no, that was like the best time. And I've gone to several concerts solo. Just feeling really empowered by it, being able to dance and leave whenever I want, and really being out here and exploring things on my own, exploring new beaches, just hopping on the trolley here, laying out in the sun. You know, I went to Temecula, which is, you know, not too far from here, but it's like wine country essentially, and wine tastings. I went horseback riding, more dancing. They had like silent disco at the beach. So really just like exploring, you know, places and foods, restaurants. Like there was a coffee shop I found on my own that makes this iced chai that resembles this other coffee shop in Denver that closed during COVID. So I'm like, oh my God, like I finally found my drink. So it's just been like, I just want to like note the fun you can have by yourself, that it is possible. So that brings to my social life pillar. So social life, I really didn't know anyone. Like I knew some people, but they didn't live in Laguna. I met one friend naturally, right? Not on a dating app or anything, but just naturally on the way to yoga on the beach. I took the trolley and we became friends. So that was really cool. I made other friendships by going to events, and I met one friend through Bumble BFF. I met another friend through Bumble BFF. We've done karaoke. One friend took me paddleboarding for the first time. Another friend, we went kayaking in the Newport Marina. So I'm not like used to water sports, you know, I live in Colorado. Like I'm not like you got to drive really far to go to like a lake. So it was cool being exposed to like different water sports. And then I ended up gathering a bunch of really amazing women here in California that by the time it was my birthday, I rented a Duffy boat, which was just like this cute little electric boat that I drove, and we just went around the harbor and went to dinner, and I just felt so grateful having a crew. And these are just some solid ass women that I fucking made. So just feeling like really grateful for my social life pillar as well, and that I wasn't expecting to find friends out here, at least like not genuine friends, but I did. So the next pillar is career. And since I've moved out here, the main thing that's changed for me, I think that was really cool right when I moved. Literally within 2 weeks, there were 2 clients that literally fell from the sky. And so like they were just 100% word of mouth. I didn't promote anything. I didn't launch anything. I wasn't even like active on my socials. And these clients just like gladly signed up for my programs. And so that was like really nice income right away. And it just felt so aligned, like awesome. Like I'm telling the universe, hey, I'm moving. I did this shift and I did it. And then here you go. You're rewarded with these clients that like really want to put in the work. Otherwise with my career, I started that podcast season 2 of interviewing different experts. And I really encourage you to check out that season, because that's really the game changer of like how I coach. That is the work I do, is addressing all of these things, because all of these areas of our life bleed into the next. So the podcast has been really cool in terms of my career. It's been a good name dropper, a good networking opportunity, and just getting people to like talk about these things. And although I haven't had as many clients, direct one-on-one clients this year, since moving, I still feel like I'm like this whole year was really for me to process what is the things that I want to prioritize in my business. And it's now officially 3 years old, my 3-year work anniversary of being a CEO. And I just know that it's going to evolve over time. And, I'm a holistic life coach, so I'm going to continue to learn and have different passions, and different clients are going to have different needs. So career-wise this year has been very reflective. It less action, masculine energy, more just like observer, and being very intentional with the content I put out there and who I decide to work with. My next pillar that I'm going to talk about is finances, or money. And this, since moving out here, this pillar of my life has changed dramatically, because since I am on my own, I was, when I lived with my partner, we split the rent. And so now being 100% responsible for your own rent changes the game. Some months I was a little scared. I was like, oh shit, Paige, how are you going to make rent this month? But guess what? I always did. I always had enough. So really this year, working on my abundance beliefs and mindset work. And living in California, I get nothing but naysayers. I get nothing but, oh my God, California is so expensive. How do you do it? And oh my God, you don't have a car. Like, how do you get around? Like, all of this like negative shit. And so in terms of money, I'm like, I'm actually saving money by doing this. I'm actually improving my health by walking to this place. I'm being intentional with my spending and budgeting of like what I really need, and also not limiting myself either with my spending of like, I want this fucking cute dress because it's fucking cute and I deserve it. Like, that's cool too. I will make a way, and money always returns to me tenfold. Like, that's just mantras that I continue to repeat and believe are true for me. So this year has really been a growth mindset in terms of money. And it's very important, I believe, in my money mantras moving forward, because it's going to set the stage for the rest of my life. And the next pillar, I'm just blending it a little bit. There's health, fitness, nutrition. So moving out here, health has been just like slapped in my face because everyone's in a bikini. So many people go to the gym, and, you know, a lot of active people live in California. Colorado did too. But California is definitely different with their appearances or the intentionality they put with health and fitness and nutrition. So for me, I would say the changes is increasing my yoga intake has been really helpful, and like going to my local yoga studio and taking classes from inspired teachers. And then there's been a few times where I went to LA and I took dance classes, and that was really fulfilling. And also, like, obviously a very good workout. I did go to the gym. I signed up for a gym membership for a couple months, but then I decided I wasn't going as much. So it's been a journey. Like, health and fitness will also, you know, as all of these pillars, will continue to be a process for me. But if anything, in terms of like food, I've been really listening to what my body is craving. And if my body is craving a $20 cheeseburger, well, fuck it. It's craving a $20 cheeseburger. I think being intentional with like, all right, Paige, what about your servings of vegetables today? And, you know, what are things to spice up your diet so that it's not so boring or routine? So, and also just like, you know, being alone for the first time in a very long time, living on my own, you're reminded that, okay, like, I am the only one that is going to tell myself to go to the gym. I'm not actually, like, no one's telling me to go work out. No one's telling me what to eat, which is fine, because if people were to tell me what to do, that wouldn't go well. But you know what I mean? So I think this health and fitness journey has been really interesting, of like what the outside lens of like California views it, and then what I personally view. If you go to season 2 and you click on the episode that is nutrition, I interview one of my past colleagues who's a dietitian. Her name's Roxanne. If you go to that episode, I always think of this quote. So like, I'm so grateful for this podcast and being able to talk to these experts, because this quote of food does not have morality. So whenever we get in that mindset of, oh, this is healthy, this is not healthy, this is good, this is not good, like, I've been so cognizant of like labeling my food. And yeah, it's important to be mindful of like, hey, this is my choice that I'm going to pick this type of food today, but remembering it is energy and it's the intention I put into it. I don't want to be so rigid of like only eating, quote, healthy foods and restricting and all that shit. Like, that doesn't work for me. So like, being mindful of balance, like harmony of my working out, taking care of myself physically, hygienically, and what I'm digesting and putting in my body. All right, the next pillar, just have a couple more here. The next pillar is romance, which, good Lord, I could make a whole podcast episode talking for like 10 minutes alone just on romance. That pillar has been a journey, let me tell you. That one, what should I even say? What could I say? You know, I want to be confidential. I don't want to get too into my love life on here, because I'm still a pretty private person. But I mean, again, you could totally DM me and I could spill the beans if you want. But I'll just say this. Since moving out here and my romance pillar and coming out of an 11-year breakup, I took my time to be very mindful. All right, Paige, be alone, be solo, be single, love yourself, date yourself, heal yourself. Why do you think you need attention from these men? Why do you feel so lonely? Why did you feel rejected this time? You know, why do you feel unattractive this time? Why do you feel attractive this time? just constantly asking myself these things. And once I did start going out there, when I did start dating, I used the dating apps just to meet people. I went on a lot of first dates, y'all. And surprisingly, those first dates, the men would tell me that I was the only one that showed up. I was the only one that actually followed through. So I guess girls don't actually follow through with the dates. I don't know. It was a very interesting experience. But there were some dates that were absolutely terrible. And they were terrible because they did not hold a conversation. I mean, I'm a coach. I can fucking interview you. I can ask you questions. I could keep the conversation along. But if you're not taking a priority to get to know me, it's going to be hard. It's going to be harder for me to be interested, right? So, but I've had shitty dates, haven't we all? But I also had some really good dates. And just because I had a good date does not mean they have to be my boyfriend either. And I just learned so much about myself. And it's really just been data collection at this point. All of the dates I've been on, all of the experiences I've been on, it's been data collection. What do I want? What do I like? What am I attracted to? What am I willing to settle for or not settle for? It's just been such a cool journey. It's been very fun. My heart's been broken a lot. And I'm just smiling at it because it's been a year of just dating and figuring it out. So super grateful for that pillar. And then I'm just going to hop to the last one here. I'm just doing the main highlight pillars. But the main one here, I'll end it on, which is going to segue into season 4 for you. But we're going to talk about spirituality for a minute. So growing up, Roman Catholic, I went to church pretty much every single Sunday for 30 plus years. I have 2 tattoos that are religious, I guess you could say. I have a relationship with God. That's what I choose to identify. However you however you want to call it, God, source, divine, energy, source, I already said that. Whoever it is for you. For me, I have a relationship, a one-on-one dynamic with God. And this whole year moving out here, finding out what are the best practices for me to be in touch with Him. What are the best practices where I can get very quiet, very grounded, very quickly, listen to my own inner authority, and listen to what is the message of God, what is the intention today to set so that I'm living my best life and I'm being fucking grateful for this life. Now, I've only gone to one church over here, and that was okay, but I have been meditating more. And that is when the downloads for me come. That's when the inspiration hits. That's when the life lessons hit. And I'm just continuing to build this relationship with God and what that really means to me. But it is important because I am very attuned to energy and different, how should I put this? I mean, I feel like I've been getting some psychic abilities in some way. Not to the extent of I can see a crystal ball and I'm a fortune teller. It's not that, or that I can talk to spirits or people who have passed. It's not that level. But there's something about my intuition that is telling me something that no one else can name, or it doesn't really make sense, but it doesn't really have to. And this whole move of going to California, I had to trust God. There was literally no other option. When I was at my lowest of lows, that I couldn't find an apartment, I was so scared, I didn't know what to do, God helped me out. And I use this metaphor as well, but God has the plan. He has the roadmap. You just can't see it. And I'm really okay with that because it still gives me free will to make choices every day of how I want to show up and how I want to live my most, optimal wealth and well-being self. But yeah, I think spirituality this whole year, I've gotten into breath work and Reiki and yoga and just learning different modalities that not only I can discover myself and explore my interests, but I can also learn about the divine and different religions and just educate myself. So on that note, season 4 is going to be themed around healing. This is what I've done all year, is healing. And it's such a beautiful word because it doesn't mean you're broken. Healing doesn't mean you're weak. Healing doesn't mean you failed. But for me, California has been a beautiful journey that I identify as like rehab, to be honest with you. Like, I wanted nothing but peace and quiet and groundedness. And that's exactly what I got by moving on the beach and being so fucking grateful for this life that I created for myself with my friends and support and loved ones and higher power. They all have my back. And so I think as I learn different modalities of healing myself, getting back to who is Paige, I want nothing more to explore more ways to do that and help you get to that healing for you. I've had a history of psychology and therapy, and I know all of the modalities, folks. I studied it for years. I have my master's, for God's sakes. Like, I'm grateful and it's helpful, but there's other ways to heal. There's other ways to look at yourself deep, deep, deep within. And that's what I'm going to focus on next season, season 4. I'll get into it a little bit more in the intro of episode 1, but you're going to really love all of the guests that I have for season 4 lined up. I'm so excited for you. I've already recorded quite a few. Get ready to heal. Get ready to go on this journey with me. And I can't wait to see you on the other side.
Thanks for listening. If you enjoyed this episode and you'd like to help support the podcast, please share it with others. Post about it on social media or head over to your favorite podcast platform to subscribe, rate, and leave a review. Subscribing and posting a review helps to improve engagement and is essential for the podcast to be discovered by new listeners. Thanks again for listening, and remember, every day provides a lesson. Take care.